How's it going? I need to make this video because this video is gonna fill in some of the gaps, the things I couldn't find. I have a 7.3 liter Excursion. There's no room to work in here. I was able to find a lot of videos about F250s, F350s. Even I found a couple of videos doing this job on an Excursion with a gasser, but I couldn't find anybody that had to overcome certain things on this exact vehicle, the 7.3 liter Excursion. There's no room. There's crap everywhere. There's rear air conditioning that you don't find in the F series trucks, so that there's a unique set of challenges there. There's the 7.3 liter, which has a turbo pipe, and it has no room because the thing's freaking humongous. So you got to reach your elbow around in certain ways. But it is possible to do this job. It's done right now. I'm about to show you what I went through. The things that I'm changing out. I'm doing the condenser, both evaporators, the dryer, and the compressor. It's going to be a complete system rebuild. I'll show you why right here. You can see that there's the Orifice tube tells this tale. The system just came completely apart. So the only thing of this system that I'm saving is the hoses. Thankfully, my truck, I know it's 25 years old, but it's a Southern truck. It's lived its life in Texas, North Carolina, and Georgia. There's no corrosion. That's not something I have to deal with, thank God. So all of my lines are physically in really, really good shape. So I'm not replacing any lines, but I am replacing 100% of the components that handle the refrigerant. And also having to do a blower motor while I'm at it. The blower motor and the resistor went out. I'll just link to a video about that. That compared to the other challenges, that was a walk in the park. Anyway, hopefully this video helps you. If you have this vehicle, I know this is a niche and I probably won't get a lot of views for this, but I hope that it helps somebody out there. So anyway, there you go. All right, y'all, sorry. This work right here has already been done. I decided to start this video because I was noticing things that were not anywhere on YouTube. I think there's some other videos on this, but yeah, I know. Probably need to replace that fan. It's not broken yet. I'll get to it. This, I've already done the work here. Let me just go over how I did it. It was real easy once you get all this stuff taken off. You just got to work your way around it real easy. The clips, y'all can figure that out. The way I actually dealt with this plenum, there's two plugs right here, or two, you got to take this loose right here, this duct. There's two little things. You can get a Phillips head on these pins, at least I could, and they will, they'll come out and you can get this duct off of here. Once you get that duct off, the top duct is not attached, it just sits in there. This right here, there's 1, 2, 3 bolts. This whole plenum will then come down. What I did is I disconnected these two lines. I left the expansion valve in place. I left the heater core and the vent all hooked up. I never disconnected none of that stuff. But when I laid it down, what I did is I went around these 5/16 nuts. I took the bottom of the plenum off. First, I think I did the first 3 before I ever pulled it off the wall. But when I set it down, just keep working around the plenum, unbolt the bottom of this plenum, and the heater core will literally set out. I'm gonna pop a photo in right here. You can see it sitting there. The heater core will just slide out and it'll set to the side, and you leave this vent hooked to the bottom of it, leave it sitting there. You'll see it all in the photo. And then, with it set to the side like that, you got free reign of this thing. You can, you know, oh, I pulled the wiring harness off too. I pulled all this harness, pull it all loose, gently work each connector, pull it all loose. The whole thing will flop down. And once you get that bottom part of the plenum off, you could take this and go work on it in your shop if you wanted to. It's all just loose. So what I done is I went ahead and pre-assembled the new expansion valve to the evaporator. I slowly worked the foam that was on the old evaporator. I worked that foam off and I put it back on here. You can see a little piece of it sticking out right there. So it's got the old factory foam on a brand new evaporator. And I set it in there and then gently worked it all back together. And it was a pain in the ass to get everything lined up, but it can be done without disconnecting any of the heater lines whatsoever, or even the vent line. I've done it all like that, just kind of sitting right here, flop down just like this. It is totally possible. So sorry, didn't think to record any of that, but that's how I done that. I do need to back up a little bit. Since I'm making this video after I've already started this project, I'm trying to remember the things that I haven't shown you because I figured them out on the fly. There's a little bracket right here. It sits right up under here. That thing, it was interfering with the evaporator coming in and out. Yeah, that little dude had to go. It's got a couple of bolts down here and 2 bolts that go up into there. That was one thing I took off. This bracket here, this whole front bracket, it mounts to the front of the evaporator box right there. I had to take that whole thing off. But first, before I did, being that this is the way that it is and whatnot, I took the dryer out with this bracket still in place. So I'm gonna put it back together the same way I took it out because I don't know how else to do it because of these heater lines right here. So on the F250, F350, these heater lines aren't here, and it's real easy to take the whole bracket off because you just pull the bolts of the whole bracket and the dryer and the little insulation and everything. It just comes out in one little cute little piece. Well, not so on this truck. This truck with these damn heater lines right here, don't get me wrong, I like having heat in the back of my truck, but these right here are a pain in my ass. These heater lines prevent you from doing it that way. So what I had to do was take it apart one piece at a time. Now, this little bolt right here is the one that comes up from the bottom and goes through this bracket that holds these heater lines up to the bottom. The heater lines, they go to the bracket, is what I'm trying to say. This bracket holds those lines. That will be the last bolt that I put back in up underneath. At the same time, my heater, the blower motor blew out, and the resistor, that was fun to get apart, very gently, very slowly. Pried it. I cut the tabs off the resistor. See if I can find it. See that little tab right there? It's not pointy anymore. The same there. That was what made the difference for me to be able to get the connector off without having to overextend those tabs and break something. There's a harness of wires that comes from right here and it goes over here to the compressor. Had to pull that off. I pulled it back and crammed it into there for now just to get it out of my way. These vacuum lines, there's a gray one and a black one. The black one comes down to the little canister that sits here. Had to take that out. And the little pump that sits there, had to take that out. This gray line right here, I took it off. It goes to the heater core bypass, max AC mod, whatever. This truck come with that, which is cool. So this vacuum line, had to take that off. I'm trying to think of other stuff I took off. Oh yeah, this little dude, yeah, like that. That had to go. I think I still got it wrong somehow, but there, I think it said something like that. Obviously I got all these lines broke loose. I'm guessing if you got to my video, you've already seen how to do all that stuff. So just trying to be thorough and show you guys what I'm dealing with. Hopefully to God, this helps somebody. It would have helped me. The condenser, this thing was a piece of cake. You know, you got your cover here, your tool holder, you know, the Ford tool holder. Get that thing out of there, pull the hood latch, bolts. It's all the same size, it's all 5/16. Same as the evaporator bolts. Most of this is all 5/16. pull your latch, get that thing to dangle. Let it dangle. Give it the old dangle. And anyway, set your thing down there, get those feet set in there. Easy, easy, easy. I still got it sealed up. I still got to flush all these lines out. All right, y'all. I'm trying to get this evaporator in and out on this excursion. It's not as easy as advertised. I've seen a lot of videos with F250s and F350s sliding the evaporator in and out of this thing. It's not the same, at all. I've seen another video of an excursion, but it didn't have the 7.3 liter. So my truck has the 7.3 liter and it has the rear air because it's an excursion. So this is what I'm dealing with. As you can see, there's heater lines and they run all up in the way. And there's my old evaporator. There's my new one. I managed to get the old one out, which I was less concerned with. I did this on the way out. This just so happens to be where this little stud right here sticks out. I'm thinking about, and it is probably a bad idea, but I'm thinking about cutting this thing off. We'll see. So here's some stuff that I did. I wish I hadn't done this. I pulled this rivet out to try to get this up out of the way a little bit, just to create some clearance in here, thinking that I'd be able to flex this piece of plastic. Don't make that mistake, because what's going to happen is it's going to snap. So if you're going to take this off, I don't know how much this really even helped. If you're going to take it off, take all 4 of the rivets out and pull this thing off as a single unit. You know, 25-year-old plastic is brittle, and now I've broken that, which, you know, breaks my heart. Yeah, you got to take the turbo pipe out of the way. You're gonna have to. There's a bracket down here on the bottom, and the bracket that sits here that holds the dryer has a little arm that comes down on these excursions, and there's a bolt that goes through this lug right here. Let me zoom into it. There you go. That little lug, and it threads up into the bottom. And once you get that loose, you get a little bit of play. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. And as you can see, they're rubber up here, which is not so bad. This is rubber. You can move this out of the way. But down here, once it gets to this point, you get about 1 inch of play, and that's about it. You bend it anymore and you're gonna crack something. So yeah, as far as getting it out, I was able to take the old one and kind of rock it up and out. But when I did it, I showed you the fins right there. That stud right there got into the fins pretty good. So it doesn't matter. The point is, this is not as easy as doing an F250 or an F350. It's not as easy as doing on an excursion with a gasser. This right here is going to test your patience. Don't be in a hurry. It's got the same 11 bolts. Now, a lot of people I saw, they were talking about there was a clip somewhere along this. Thankfully, I didn't have that. Mine had just bolts. There was no metal clips. In fact, let me go get it. Here's the cover for the evaporator. This is what I had. I had 11 bolts all the way around it. I did not have any of the metal clips, thank goodness. And it sits in there in this orientation with the firewall back here, and the heater hoses run right there, you can see. I was able to get my arm, I got this little ramp set up right here I had to stand on. But once I pulled this vacuum canister out and the pump out and the turbo line out, let me set this down before I break something. Once I pulled all that stuff out of the way, I'm able to get my arm up under here. But in order to get to them bolts, you kind of got to go over the heater hose, and then you can get to them barely, one-handed. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna put this thing back together. But that's what I did, and I was able to get those bolts out. It took me probably 2 or 3 hours because I got a big old giant arm and giant hand. If you had smaller hands, it would go better. But anyway, I'll let you know what it takes for me to get the core back in. I gotta be very careful getting that core back in and then the cover around it without bending them fins, and that's what I'm worried about. So now I did all of this. I've seen some folks take out the inner fender. I ain't trying to do all that. I have not pulled my inner fender at all. I did try getting up under the truck and laying on my back down there, and there was only, once I got my head right down there, I was only able to even see one bolt, the one that's down here. It didn't do me really any good to be down there. I couldn't reach anything. Everything's in the way. The starter motor's right there. It really didn't do me no good to get up under it. Maybe it'd be different if I had a lift. Anyway, we still got to pull the compressor. I've got the whole rear end. Now I thought the back was going to be hard. I did it first thinking it was going to be the hardest one. But compared to what I'm dealing with on the front, dealing with this box right here was a breeze compared to the front. Even though I had to rip half the truck apart to get to it. Anyway, I'll be back later with more. So I am shortening this pin up. There's no way. There's just no way it's going in there without it. And when I'm looking at the cover right here, it doesn't need the pin to be sticking way out here. It does no good. It just needs to index it. So I left about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Hopefully that'll give me a little clearance. I'm gonna go get myself a little rag or something to throw over this to soften it up a little bit. I know it'll still bend a fin, but make me feel better. Okay. Oh yeah, that is exactly what it needed. That would not slide in there like that before without raking that evaporator. That was the ticket. That thing just slid in there like butter. Okay, I'm feeling better now. There's that. It didn't interfere with anything having that chopped off. And notice this right here didn't even make a difference. And I cracked that for no good reason. But this, yeah. I would do this again in a heartbeat. This right here definitely made the difference. Now I'm gonna try to get the cover back on it. This was not easy either because these heater lines, trying to remember how I even got this out of there. Only thing holding it right now is these heater lines. It's just pushing it into me. Let's see. Heater lines are about to tick me right off, I'll tell you what. I saw one guy, he talked about this thing, it just went zoop right on down in there. He was working on an F-Series truck. He didn't have these heater lines to deal with. He didn't have that rear heater core. They come out though, it can go back in. There it goes. There it goes. There she blows. Okay. grounding strap pulled back forward. There it is. There it is. Okay. So, see, I still have the alignment pin. If you hadn't seen it happen, you wouldn't have believed it. I almost don't believe it. There was about, for these 11 bolts that got to go back in here, there was about 11 different ways that I got to them. So this video is going to be boring as hell for anyone not actually doing this job. But for those of you that are doing it, I will talk through each one of these dead blame things. Some of them are easy. I'm gonna start with those. I have a combination of things here, different sockets and extensions, and I know you're probably gonna have something different, so I'll just show you with what I'm doing it with, and if it helps, it helps. Hopefully it does. All right, well, this one right here is pretty easy. Okay. To start with, I just got an extension. I have a universal, fortunate to have the Snap-on 3/8 universal. I got it at a pawn shop. Whatever this cost, it was worth it. Even if you had to mortgage your firstborn child to afford it. I use this all the time. It's fantastic. Yeah. That's how I'm gonna get back there. Let's see. Okay. That just kills me. I hate that I did that. Let's see if I can get this dang thing started by hand. Yep. Let's start this one too. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't need the universal. Probably making it hard, but there it is. I also have this little guy. Where the hell did I put my socket? Found it. I only had to make one lap around the truck. That's pretty good. A little 1/4 inch deal. It's really not even the right thing. Let's see. Also, 5/16 inch gear wrench. There we go. Okay, that one and the one right below it. This'll do. We better start getting to the hard ones. This one's annoying because even the gear wrench doesn't have enough room to spin. You gotta get, there's not enough room for the ratchet. There's not enough room for the wrench to not the box end of the gear wrench. Gotta use the open end. Kind of annoying. Is what it is. All right, I got one more kind of easy one. And then it's about to get fun. This is where the universal starts to shine. There it is. Now comes the crappy ones. 4 to go. What can I say? These are the ones that suck. But it can be done. I'm gonna try to get them started by hand. And then I'll have to figure out what kind of tool to put on them. Okay, I'm going up under the bottom, the one closest to the front. I'm gonna use this little dude again. Let's see, righty-tighty that away. Okay. Yep. Can't see it. I'm using my braille wrench. Yeah, dad jokes, I know. 3 to go. If I can get this started by hand, then I'll be able to get my universal down to it. That's gonna be the setup for that one. It's a big if. Why is that such a big if? So, 7 bolts in, 8, whatever that was. Only 3 to go. I just realized the bottom corner was not completely clicked in all the way. There's this little fin supposed to click in. It wasn't. So maybe verify that, or maybe start with the harder ones and work your way towards the easy ones. So this one on the side of the box going down, this is the bottom one, and there's about this much room between where it is and where the valve cover is. And it is really hard to get my big old hand down here to it to start it in by hand. There we go. There we go. It's in there. It's in there. I'll prove it. See it? There it is. It still doesn't want to focus on it, but you see it. I'm gonna go with this one with this universal situation. I'm gonna go in between, or no, I'm not. I'm gonna go inside the heater line. Pull the ratchet off of here. There we go. There we go. 2 extensions. One of them was a wobbler. Probably be doing good to swap that out. Universal and a 5/16. I got that one. Now, the 2 hardest ones. So there's 2 on the side, and then right as the side rolls off, there's one right up under there. In order to get to these 2, you got to really get up in this thing. You're going to be giving this evaporator the full reach around. Y'all know what I mean? The full reach around. Here we go. All right, this one's pointing backwards towards the firewall. Holy cow, y'all. Okay, I'm skipping that one. I'm coming back to it. I'm going to the bottom one, the second one back. Already got the front one. I'm going to the bottom one. My hand is inside of these 2 heater hoses. This is what I did it with. I remember now. I did it like this. A 1/4 inch deal. Hand under. Heater hoses like this. Bolt right there. You got to go under and over. This will get to that one. Oh my. There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ouch. All right, 1 to go. That's that one that I couldn't get just a second ago. This is the one. There's coming around the box. There's 2 here, and then the box rounds under the bottom, and there's one that goes back that way, pointing towards the firewall. That's this one. Okay, we're gonna try it. I'm going full under the heater lines, and then back up and over them, kind of like that other bolt. Ah, there we go. It lined up that time. I had to get that other one. It's lined up now. Okay, it's in there. It started. This is the last one. I'm using this little guy for it. I'm going completely under these heater lines. My elbow is down even with the elbow of the heater lines. Get the gear wrench. I would not want to do this without that. Just tell your wife, you gotta have the blame gear wrenches. And without that, this one right here just wouldn't be happening, y'all. There's about 2 or 3 of these I could say that with. There it is right there. It's in there. All right, that was the worst part so far. When I'm talking about over and under these lines, this is what I'm talking about. This bolt right here, you can go over and you can get your hand in there. My index finger is touching it right there. The one behind there, there's not enough room to go that way. You got to go under like this, like that right there. And then the one I just did at the very back, it's like full elbow. You can't see where my hand is, but it's up under there. You got to go. These things are just right in the damn way. But I've just proven it's possible without pulling the inner fender. I did have to pull that. I don't know how much help this did. You saw me when I was, you'll be the judge of that. I don't know if I'd do that again. But I'm gonna start putting some stuff back together now. So the next thing I did, I mounted this bracket back up. Got the bracket on the front of the evaporator here. Got, you can see it's sitting here waiting to accept the dryer. Dryer will go in there, hope. Next thing I'm gonna do is put that long bolt back up through those damn heater lines. I think this will be the last time I have to fool with them things. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the turbo pipe back in, get it tightened up, and I'll be back in a bit. Got the tube back in, got that thing actually bolted in. Got the bracket back in. Got, yeah, anyway, still waiting on FedEx to bring me my last Rock Auto order. It has my new dryer in it, and also my resistor for the fan. Let's see, so the next thing I'm gonna do, I've got, like I said before, I got the condenser in, I got both evaporators in. Also waiting on FedEx to bring my brand new Denso compressor. Yeah, got my wiring harness back threaded, threaded back around over here. But what I'm ready to do now, I need to get these lines cleaned out. I don't know if I've showed you guys yet. This is what I'm dealing with. So my compressor decided to absolutely shit the bed. I don't know how much you can tell. That's metal and compressor guts and all the looking over the internet, I haven't seen an orifice tube quite this bad before. This is probably the worst one I've seen, and it's in my hand right here. I've seen some dirty ones, but this thing's gross. You can tell actually some of the dirt that was on there is not there. I was trying to see the screen underneath of it. So I've already actually cleaned some of that off. Yeah. So that being said, I have got to flush these lines out. Now I bought this little Amazon flush kit. I'll throw a link in the description. I got this little guy, and I got a gallon of super duper extreme clean extreme AC flush solvent. So anyway, that stuff right there is very flammable. I looked up, I did all kind of Googling before I bought this. This stupid can was $45. I did all kind of Googling, and I could never find what was in the can because I was just gonna buy the components. Well, I looked up these 2 CAS numbers that's on the back of this can. This stuff is made of heptane and rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol and heptane. Heptane is an ingredient in gasoline. So extreme clean is extremely flammable. It also should flash off really good though, and not leave any residue. But okay, I'm about to start doing these pipes right here. Cleaning them out, and the idea is that you want to flush them backwards. Like when you flushing out any kind of filter, any kind of thing, You want to flush them backwards. Send the metal back the way it come from. That's what I've heard anyway. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. I'm trying to make sense of the flow of what I have here in this excursion, because there's 2 evaporators, not just one. So the way, I'm not going to bother trying to explain all this, but I'm just going to tell you the school of thought. I'm going to go from each individual line. I'm going to look at the diagram. I'm trying to figure out which direction the flow is, and I'm going to flush it the opposite direction. And that's going to take me forever. But this is how I'm doing it. Little Amazon flush kit. A little bit of extreme clean. And we'll see how it goes. Thankfully, I knew this beforehand, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. When you putting this stuff in there, it's expensive. And you got just a short little line. For instance, I'm about to show you this line. I'm about to show you how this works. But this little line, it goes from here to there. This is not going to take a ton of fluid to clean out. It's just not. So this stuff's expensive. What I'm doing is I'm not filling this whole canister up with fluid. I'm putting, look at this, look at that right there. I just want to show you these instructions. That is fantastic. Here in the good old US of A. Anyway, I'm only putting about this much or so fluid, in the bottom of this thing. If you fill this thing entirely up, when you pull this trigger, it's gonna shoot out whatever liquid is, however much you have in here, it's gonna just shoot it on out. And you don't wanna do that. You just wanna put a little liquid through it, slowly push the liquid into the thing you're trying to clean. I'll show you here in a second, but I'm gonna slowly, barely push it on that trigger. Shoot some fluid in there, let it sit in there for a second before you go just blowing it all the way through. Let it sit in there. I'm gonna let it sit in there. And then I will ramp up the speed on the air and let the air follow it to blow that stuff out of there to clean it out. So just showing you, don't waste all your fluid. I mean, unless you want to, buy about 5-6 gallons of this and go ahead and shoot it on through there if that's what you want to do. But I ain't got money for all that. $45 a whack. Yeah, I can't do all that. So when I go doing the rear lines that go all the way to the back of the truck, them lines are, I don't know, 20 feet long, however long that is, then I'll probably, fill that up a little bit more. My common sense is saying short line, I'm gonna put a little fluid. Long line, I'm gonna put a lot of fluid. I got a lot of lines to blow out on here. Make sure 1 gallon gets the job done. I put this bucket here to act as a catch can. I want to see what comes out of this thing, especially this one here that was between the dryer and the compressor. I'm curious to see how bad it is, but I know I'm gonna get some metal from somewhere. We're just gonna see where it's at. All right, so this is what I've done, y'all. I got air coming up. I got about this much fluid in the bottom of this thing. I got my air hose. It's all, yeah, look at that pressure. We got pressure. That's all gonna be fun. Slow. See it? Now I'm gonna actually. Oh, that's probably not good for the paint. Once that daggum can is empty, it's just gonna be air coming out of it. And so you can follow it up. You can keep that little thing engaged and blow through it. It actually come out pretty clean. I'm surprised. I don't know how, because you've seen that orifice. I wonder where I'm gonna find the dirt, but you get the idea. Blow the fluid through, try to go slow for that first part, let it sit in there, and then blow that junk out of there. I'll show you what come out of it. Actually, you can tell somebody had some dye in here. There's actually quite a bit of metal down in there. Quite a bit of metal. You can see it. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. That wasn't in my bucket. I did clean the bucket out. The stains and stuff are there, but look at that chunk of like metal particles. That's what come out of there. I might flush that in again. Anyway, that's what you're trying to get out of them lines, because you don't want that stuff getting into your brand new component. So anyway, yeah, happy flushing. Yep, kind of like the last one. Now you probably can't see it from there, but it's kind of like mining for gold. There's little metal nuggets, not nuggets, but flakes. Yep, all kind of trash. There you go. All right, one more thing. There's two different designs of Orifice tubes for the Excursion. One of them, the red one here, if you can see it. The red one, that one, is, that's the OE design. So I bought one of each. These are real cheap, like $2. This one though, is supposed to be a variable, it's variable instead of a fixed orifice. What the heck does that mean? I don't know. But they say that the one with the pointy tip here, you know, when you pull up into the drive-through and you're sitting there, your air conditioner don't blow quite as cold. Well, it's because something to do with the volume of gas running through the system. So supposedly this variable one will make it where even when you're sitting there idling, it will work just as well. So I bought one of each. I'm gonna keep the other one as a backup, but this one is the one I'm gonna install. I figured I'd share it with you, and I'll also link to the original video where I found that information, but another guy, he did a really good job explaining a bunch of stuff on these excursions. But anyway, I'm following his advice. I'm gonna put this in there and hopefully it does good for me. All right, regarding the parts list, don't buy the same dryer I bought if you have the same vehicle I have. The dryer that I bought, it's gonna work. It's the same dryer. But this plastic thing with this pre-made bracket is not compatible with the metal bracket that I need this to mount back into. And yes, I have to use the metal bracket because it holds those damn heater lines. You know, the heater lines you've heard so much about. So this would bolt, it appears that this would bolt where that bracket bolts up to. No, it didn't. No, it's just different. It's just totally different. Do yourself a favor and don't get this one, but maybe one just like it. I saw another part that looked just like this but didn't have the black thing on it, and I bought the black thing thinking, oh, that's gonna be better, it's already insulated. Well, it's not. It doesn't have an insulation layer in it at all. It's just an empty black plastic thing. So I'm gonna use the insulation from the old one. Just wanted to let you know. All right, so I got the dryer out of that plastic sheathing and it's sort of mocked up in here. And when I say mocked up, I'm not gonna open this thing up until everything else is done. I still have some things to do, but because I gotta leave it loose so that I can get this to line up, and so that I can get all this to line up. So I'm gonna leave it loose for now, but it's in there. It's back in the metal bands. It is the same evaporator, just doesn't have that case on it. I just put it back in this little insulation. Got the bands kind of mocked up in place. I went ahead and put my resistor. You can't see it. I went ahead and put my resistor in there. Guys, it's a big moment. A big moment. It's time to break out the 10 millimeter. Yes, that's right. The Taiwanese 10 millimeter. It's the only one I have. I'm breaking it out. wish me luck. But for real, it's 10 millimeter time to pull the compressor. I got the belt loosened. FedEx came finally, got my Denso compressor. That's all blurry. That blurry box right there. It's about to be right here. All right, next subject. The rear lines that come from the front, they come all the way down up underneath. Right here, near your tailpipe, if you got your 7.3 liter, is this mess right up here, okay? It's real easy for you to see. I wish it was that easy for me to see before. Both of these lines come loose right here, which is nice, because I'm about to flush them, and I'll have some place to put my catch pan right here on the ground. There's a short little piece of line that goes up, and that is what connects here to your expansion valve. Those little dudes right there. I'm just gonna flush those down because I'm not trying to flush fluid in the direction of travel, flushing it into my truck. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna flush them down. They're only about a foot, but you'll need some of these to get them disconnected. So the line up front that connects where the orifice is right here, that required a 5/8 disconnector. The two at the back here, the smaller line takes a 1/2 inch, and the larger line takes a 3/4 inch. So you'll need 3 total to do the whole job if you're gonna do the whole job back here. So I bought the little cheapo $20 Amazon Master. They call it the Master Disconnect Tool Set. Wow, that's what I got. So far I've used the orange one, the green one, and the black one. So just tell your wife you gotta have the Master Disconnector. It was like $20 for the whole get up here, but yeah, you're gonna want that. Oh, this is why. let me get back to the point. So when you disconnect, there's the two under there. There's a 1/2 inch and there's the 3/4 inch. Inside of the smaller line, the 1/2 inch line, when you pull it down, this little guy right here, pull it down and get you a little screw. I'm gonna set you down right here. Get you a little screw and thread it up in there. And when you do that, you're gonna find that there's another filter that's hiding in there. Look how nasty mine is. It is absolutely disgusting. This system was completely jammed up. I'm trying to be family friendly here. Yeah, so definitely make sure to get a replacement. All the parts are down in the description. Get one, put it in. After you flush everything, put a clean filter back here too. Otherwise, you're not gonna have rear air conditioning. All right, this is gonna take me a second to get through. So it's the next day. I've actually been working on this for about 4 days now because I've been going very slow because I don't know what I'm doing. So here's what you missed. Everything's working great. I got it chucking ice cubes now. Right now it's 75 degrees outside, and at idle, remember I've got the variable orifice tube in here. So at idle, when it's just sitting here, I'm in the sun, and 75 degrees. It's not a super hot day or anything. We'll see when summer comes how much this holds up. But what I did, I checked the front and the back. All I have is a meat thermometer. So I went to my barbecue. I got the meat thermometer. Well, that's not supposed to happen. Sorry, I got the phone sitting on a 4x4, and it just decided to blow off of there. Anyway, at idle, I managed to get from 75, I managed to get it down to, I believe it was 44.5 degrees, which is pretty darn good, 44.5. And then when I'm going down the road, I drove it up and down the street, and I was able to get it down to 41 degrees. on a 75-degree day. That's a 34-degree differential. That, I'm no expert, but I think that's pretty darn good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. So there's a couple of things that are not obvious, even when you look at the manual for the compressor. Things that are not obvious, things that I did a lot of homework on, and I'm going to link to all of the things that like my YouTube University course, if you will. I'm going to put them all up here or down in the description. I'll have everything linked so that you can understand everything. But let me tell you what I did. So first of all, last night, before I was done, I got everything hooked up. The evaporator's in, the dryer's in, the compressor's in. On every single one of the O-rings, I made sure to lubricate. I have a bottle of PAG oil. The Excursion, this is the oil, PAG 46. I did not use the stuff with the dye or any additive. I used good old-fashioned, straight up PAG 46, because I don't want any contaminants in the system. Everything's brand new. So I flushed everything out, right? The only stuff in here that's old are the lines. So managed to get it all flushed out, and new O-rings on every one of these fittings, including the back, up under the truck, you know, at the expansion valve. Every single O-ring is new. I put a new Schrader valve, which I recommend. Just while you're there, put the Schrader valve in the high side. There's an O-ring on the bottom of it. It should be new. Put it in there while you're there. The thing I got stuck on, and I was up last night researching till all hours of the morning. The thing I was worried about the most is how much oil and where to put it. What the crap do you do? I got PAG oil. Now, I actually had a bottle that I bought just for lubricating seals. And online, Denso, I'm looking at the manual, and it says it has a whole system charge of oil in it, right? That is not correct. That is not correct. This is a humongous system in this thing. There's 2 evaporators, a giant parallel flow condenser, you know, the dryer, the compressor, and 20 foot of lines in one direction, make that 40 foot of line, plus, you know, these short lines, I don't know, 45 feet of lines. It's a big system. And I couldn't rectify how the compressor shipped with a full system charge of oil. So I started researching, trying to understand it, and this is what I found. And I'm gonna link to, there's two videos that help me wrap my brain around this. First of all, Denso, they tell you to do an oil balancing procedure. And really and truthfully, the only thing the oil balancing procedure applies to is if you're only replacing the compressor. They're assuming that the system has the specified amount of oil in it, and all they're trying to get you to do is put the amount of oil that came out of the old compressor back into a new compressor. But the fact that the compressor, when it fails, blows chunks everywhere, I don't know how you can even trust that, but that's what they say. Anyway, so I finally found a spreadsheet. I'll link it too. This is a spreadsheet that I downloaded from Denso, and it has every single model number, or at least, well, I'm assuming every model number, of all their air conditioning compressors. And on this spreadsheet, it tells you how much oil ships in the compressor from the factory. And this compressor on the sheet, I'll highlight it right here, ships with 1.5 ounces of oil. So, this is a humongous system. I'm seeing other little Toyotas, other videos, other things. You know, this system takes 6 ounces, 4 ounces, 8 ounces. Like, this is a giant system. There's no way that this whole system runs with only 1.5 ounces of oil. So, come to find out I was right. And I didn't even realize where to look. The answer was right here in front of me the whole time. So I'm gonna show you. Right here on the sticker, it says, okay, so Excursion, except GCC countries. GCC is over in the desert somewhere on the other side of the planet. So built for GCC, this doesn't apply to us. F-Series and Excursion without the rear air, maybe this applies to you guys. Your system on an F250 without rear air would take 2 pounds, 8 ounces of Freon and 9 ounces of lubricant. I didn't realize the lubricant spec was right here on the label. So 4 pounds, 4 ounces, that's 68 ounces of refrigerant and 14 ounces of oil. Well, this compressor has a system charge in it from the factory, right? No. It only has the 1.5 ounces of oil that they figure is going to be sitting in this. They're assuming that there's oil in the evaporator and in the dryer and in the rear evaporator and in the condenser and in all of your liquid lines everywhere. They're making that assumption. So if you're like me and you're starting from scratch, when you do that flush with that solvent, it pushes every bit of oil out of the lines. We got 2 new evaporators, a new condenser, everything's brand new dryer, everything. Well, that means that I need to empty the oil that comes from the factory out of this, and I need to put in the specified amount of oil into this system. Well, how the crap am I going to get 14 ounces of oil in that compressor? So I went YouTubing. Again, I'm linking videos down in the description that will help you out here. But, and I highly recommend watch every single one of the videos that I link, because it's how I wrap my brain around this. But essentially what I did, I have this little beaker. Hold on. My wife had this. She homeschools our boys, and she has this for science. Its scale is in milliliters, so I did a conversion from ounces to milliliters. Found out 14 ounces is right at 400 milliliters of oil. So what I did is I bought 2 of these. This is 16 ounces of oil. 2 of these are 8 ounces each. And I put 200 mils in here. I took that compressor, and the crappy thing is I had a vacuum on it all night. I vacuumed it down before I went to bed. I already had everything hooked up, and I pulled it down. I pulled a vacuum down. I used this little Harbor Freight pump. It didn't do the best job. It didn't hit 29 pounds, which is a perfect vacuum, but it did hit 25 pounds, and not pounds, 25 inches of mercury, whatever. It sucked it down pretty good. Even with my compressor, I had to keep cycling it over and over and over. So I would leave it hooked up for 3 or 4 minutes, and I would pull it off. And I did that probably 8 or 10 times, but it pulled it down fast. But I wanted to leave it pulling so that if there was any kind of water in the system, it would suck it out. So I did that. The oil charge. Okay, so now I gotta break the system back open again. So that's frustrating. So I come out this morning. First I ran to the parts store, got the oil, and I went ahead and I cracked this loose. I pulled the compressor back off. So do this first. Do this. Don't do it the way I did it, which is ass backwards. Just do it this way from the beginning, and you'll be in much better shape than I was. I pulled the compressor loose. Flip it up on its end. There's 2 ports. The larger port is the suction side. I took 200 mils of oil, and I started to pour it in there. It wouldn't take 200 mils. As I was pouring it in there, I had my son holding the glass so as to not get oil or any contaminants in the oil. He was holding the glass while I would pour a little bit. I hand it to him, and I would rotate that shaft. I made sure, the book does tell you want to rotate the shaft at least 10 rotations. So I rotated until which time oil starts spewing out the other side of the compressor. So I wiped it off. I lost a little oil there. I did. And then I didn't get all 200 in there is what I'm trying to get at. But either way, I started with 200 mils in here. I put as much oil in the compressor as I could get in it, and had to sort of like get the line hooked back on so it wouldn't dump out. But I got it in there. It didn't leak a whole lot. I might have lost an ounce, so I accounted for that. I've put another 200 mils plus a splash, what I assume ran out. I'm trying to, You know, it wasn't exactly scientific. But then I took this fitting loose off the dryer. I saw a lot of people talking about putting half the charge in the compressor and half the charge in the dryer. So I pulled this line off the dryer and I start pouring through the little spout into the dryer. It wouldn't take all of it either. I still had, after I put another 200 mils, so I'm 400 total. I was trying to do 200 here and 200 here, right? I still had like 150 mils left over after I had metered out 400 total mils. The dryer wouldn't take any more, the compressor wouldn't take any more. So I found another video, it'll be linked, where it makes a lot of sense. You can, with your vacuum hooked up, see, you're pulling vacuum on the low side, right? You can suck. If you're pulling vacuum on the low side, it's gonna have a suction on the high side. So what I did is I needed to replace the Schrader anyway, because I hadn't replaced it. So yeah, long story. Anyway, I went ahead and got my Schrader tool and I pulled it out. I'll show you what it looks like. I got this little kit from Advanced Auto Parts. It comes with, you'll have to just find it. It's called the service. I cut the top off so I don't have I can't remember if it was CarQuest or what the brand was, doesn't matter. Service port repair kit. It was $9 at Advanced Auto Parts. I'll try to find a link for it. Pull the Schrader valve out. It comes with the tool and the Schrader valve. So I pulled that out. I turned my vacuum pump on and I took the rest of the fluid and I poured it in with no Schrader valve. I poured it in here while the high side was sucking down. Put the other 150 mils in there. So, long way of saying, I put as much as I could get here, and the rest of it went in the high port. And then I put the Schrader valve back in, and I pulled the vacuum on the system again. And I ran that pump 4 or 5 times, and I pulled it down. Got it down to 25, 26 inches of mercury, and I let it sit there for a minute. So, do better than me. And do all of that from the beginning. So this system needs 14 ounces of oil. Don't just go with the charge that the compressor says, oh, it's a system worth of oil, because it's not enough. And I drained it out. Before, that's another thing. I don't know if I said that or not. Before I did anything, I took the compressor, after I had it unbolted, I took it off and I dumped out the oil that it shipped with. I need to be clear about that. You got to dump this oil out. You don't want this oil. This is shipping oil. I found multiple videos of guys talking about you got to dump this oil out. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if you can see this. This is the thing that I had. That little bit of oil right there. That is all of the oil that come out of this. Now this beaker filled to the rim is 400 mils. This is how much oil the system takes up to here. This is all that it shipped with. That is not a system's worth of oil. So drain the oil that comes from there. Start from scratch with fresh, clean oil, okay? After that, the next thing I did, I started putting the Freon in it. There's a video, I'll link it here. I'm not going to explain how to do this, but I made a thing. I'll even link this 3D file. If you got a 3D printer, you want to print this, go for it. Although it's not necessarily necessary. So I wanted to charge, I'm OCD, so I wanted to charge as a liquid. So I made this little apparatus that'll take this, and you buy, I have it, it's in my Rock Auto list, the charging valve. Okay, and charging valve goes on the can, and it all fits in there. And you hook your yellow hose up, and it's just like turning the big can of refrigerant upside down. It lets you do that with the little can. So you can set it on your scale, and you can get an accurate measurement of the amount of Freon that's actually going in. Now in the end, this turned out to be less important than I thought, because along the way, I kept seeing people talk about you'd rather be undercharged than over. Now, I don't understand the mechanics of this, but what I did notice is as I was charging, I had a meat thermometer stuck in the vent. I actually hit the lowest temperature. I hit the lowest temperature when I was only 3 cans in, which is interesting. Like 3 cans, this system calls for 68 ounces. 3 cans is only 36 ounces. I had my son sitting in the car calling out measurements, or like the thermometer. I don't understand all the reasons for it, but maybe I could have stopped at 3 cans. I don't know. What he was noticing that after the 3rd can, when I put the 4th can in, it actually was blowing warmer. And when I put the 5th can in, it was blowing a couple degrees warmer. Now, maybe that's just because the temperature and the humidity of today. I don't know. I don't understand why. But when I was 3 cans in, it was blowing like 38-degree air out of the vent. And then I put the 4th can and it went up to like 42. And then I put the 5th can in and it was up to 44-ish. So I decided to stop. So I did not put the full 68 ounces in. I put 64 ounces in. I did 5 cans, 5 times 12. Is that right? What's 5 times 12? That took way too long. I put 60 ounces of Freon in. It calls for 68. I didn't see the point. Every time I was putting more in, it was getting hotter, not colder. I've seen guys say less is more. I don't understand the mechanics of that. If someone could explain that to me, I would love to understand it. Leave me a comment. Anyway, this video is getting long. That's what I did. Get your oil charge right and get your Freon Charge right, but don't go over on either one of those things. Yeah, hopefully this makes sense. The oil charge thing was like a mystery, and I didn't see anybody talking about it. So anyway, there you go. That's what I did. Compressor in the dryer and in the high side port. There you go. Hopefully this is helpful. Peace out.